Okay, so the relationship between the United States and Iran, it is on an absolute knife's edge right now. We're seeing these really alarming claims of attacks coming from one side and then a massive military buildup from the other. So what's really going on here? Are we watching a slow march to war, or is this all some kind of high-stakes play for a negotiation? Let's break it all down.
It really all kicks off with this, just a chilling statement, reportedly from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC. Now, just for some quick context, the IRGC is a super powerful part of the Iranian military. They operate alongside the regular army, but answer directly to the supreme leader. So when you hear language like utter and complete annihilation, yeah, that's the kind of thing that puts the entire world on high alert. Let's dig into what's behind this statement.
All right, let's get into the details of this really explosive claim. We're talking about a reported military operation that, if it's true, would be a major escalation.
So, according to this statement, the IRGC Navy launched what they called a surprise operation, and they even gave it a code name, True Promise 4. Now, this wasn't just, tough talk or rhetoric. This was a specific claim of a direct, coordinated military attack on U.S. forces.
And the IRGC's claim got incredibly specific. I mean, they're talking about a combined missile and drone attack on a place called Brian Island. And they claim to have killed, and this is their exact wording, a large number of American terrorist Marines. They even went so far as to name the hospitals where they said the wounded were taken. I mean, these are incredibly detailed and serious allegations.
So, naturally, with claims like that flying around, the big question is, what is the United States doing about it? And the response, as we're seeing reported by the Wall Street Journal, has been anything but quiet.
Okay, so now we're going to pivot and look at the U.S. military's posture in the region. And this is a story that's told not so much in claims, but in just sheer numbers and raw firepower.
First, let's just get a baseline. Even before any of this new stuff, there are already over 50,000 American troops positioned throughout the Middle East. That is a huge footprint to begin with. And, well, it's reportedly about to get even bigger.
Yep, on top of those 50,000, the Pentagon is reportedly thinking about sending up to 10,000 more ground troops. That would be a really significant boost in combat power right in the middle of all this tension.
And this chart really kind of helps you see the scale of what we're talking about. We're looking at a potential 20% increase in troop levels. That is a massive show of force.
And it's not just about the numbers, right? Look at the kind of forces being mobilized. You've got the elite 82nd Airborne. These are guys designed for rapid deployment anywhere on the planet. You've got thousands of Marines and sailors, infantry, armored vehicles. Look, these are not peacekeeping forces. These are combat-ready units prepared for immediate action.
So, on one side, you've got these threatening claims, and on the other, this huge military buildup. But the strategy here seems to be a little more complex than it looks at first, because it's putting this immense pressure and the idea of diplomacy on a direct collision course. To really understand the stakes, you have to know about this one place, the Strait of Hormuz. Think of it as one of the most critical choke points for oil on the entire planet. Any conflict here, even a tiny one, could totally disrupt global energy supplies and send shockwaves through the world's economy. And that's exactly why everybody is watching so closely.
And this, right here, is the crucial point. It's this apparent contradiction. I mean, on one hand, you have this immense military pressure being cranked up. But at the exact same time, Washington is sending signals that it's open to diplomacy. President Trump himself has hinted at the possibility of talks with Tehran. It's like a classic carrot and stick approach, except, the stick is absolutely enormous.
So this brings us to the central question. What is the end game here? What is all this military maneuvering actually for? And it turns out there are two very, very different ways to interpret the U.S. strategy.
The two theories are basically polar opposites. First, there's the idea that this is a path to war. Critics are arguing that a military buildup this big is a provocation that could just easily spiral out of control into a much wider conflict. But then there's the second theory, that this is all a show of strength, a calculated move designed to force Iran to the negotiating table from a position of American power, ultimately aiming for a diplomatic solution.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to remember that for right now, no final decision on sending those extra 10,000 troops has actually been made. The pieces are moving around on the board, the preparations are definitely in place, but that final command has not been given. The whole situation is just incredibly fluid.
Which leaves us with this final, vital question. Is this a calculated strategy of pressure designed to force a deal? Or is it a dangerous provocation that could lead to a really devastating conflict? Right now, the line between those two things is razor thin, and the whole world is just waiting to see which way it's going to break.